How's it, everybody? Got Calcs here. We got another Dokkan Battle video for you here today. We have the brand new LR EZA for the 2022 worldwide LRs, the AGL Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta. And in this video, we have our complete unit guide. That means we'll be breaking down the unit, its kit, getting a full understanding of how this unit works. We'll be taking a look at their links and their best partners, as well as some teams I've thrown together for you guys to try to test this unit out on. And then finally, we will hop into a showcase. This is a rainbow showcase because ours are actually rainbow. They've been rainbow for a while and have max links. So let's go ahead and let's start by talking about the unit. So, well, in their base form, they get key 5, attack defense 250%, damage reduction rate 30%, and an additional key 1 per type key sphere obtained. Launch an additional attack that has a 50% chance of becoming a super attack. For 4 turns from their entry turn, they gain attack defense 150%. And an additional damage reduction rate 40%. They get defense 200% and damage reduction rate 20% before attacking, which makes them incredibly defensive, especially on their first turn. And when attacking with 18 or more key, they get 150% attack and defense, and a high chance of performing a critical hit. All right, on their next attacking turn, after performing 3 or more super attacks, or receiving 5 attacks in battle, or when 3 or more movie heroes are on the team starting from the 5th turn from the start of battle, they will receive a morale boost. Now, the good thing about that means that while their 4 turns entry passive does seem scary, you don't really have to worry about it much, because as soon as it expires, they will be using their morale boost, so you don't have to worry about a drop in stats. Now, once that morale boost takes effect, they gain 300% attack and defense and key 5, damage reduction rate 70%, and an additional key 2 per type key sphere obtained. They also launch an additional super attack. For 1 turn from their entry turn, they have an additional 20% damage reduction. That means they have 90% damage reduction on their first appearance. Really, really powerful stuff right there. When attacking with 18 or more key, they get 150% attack and a 50% chance of performing a critical hit. When receiving an attack with 18 or more key, they get 150% defense. When activating their active skill or attacking with 24 key, they get 300% attack and 150% defense. They have a guaranteed crit and launch an additional attack that has a 70% chance of becoming a super attack. For 1 turn, starting from their next attacking turn after their first appearance, when attacking only 1 enemy, they get 500% extra attack. Now, this is really powerful because it essentially means this is the turn you want to use your active skill on. Now, with that said, if you can actually kill the boss before they attack on that turn or before using your active skill, it will actually spare that, and you can save it for later. It's not always easy to do, but something to keep in mind if you want to play around that. So that said, let's start talking about their super attack effects, right? Super attack effects actually do not change between the morale boost and not. It's just the passive chains. Super attacks are doing the exact same thing on both the morale boost and their base form, greatly raising attack and defense for 1 turn on their 18 key while greatly lowering attack and defense, and greatly raising attack while raising defense on their 12 key. Nothing too crazy there. So with that said, let's head on over to the Dokkan FYI here, and let's take a look at their partners. So I want to talk about their partners first before we sort of break down the calcs here that we got for you. So shout out to the guys over on the Dokkan FYI for this, because really helps us out. I love to use this when building our teams. Of course, we'll link it in the description down below. So we take a look here, right? Looking at their link skills here, right? Fierce Battle, Golden Warrior, Legendary Power, Prepared for Battle, Shocking Speed, Super Saiyan, Saiyan Lineage, right? A lot of offensive links here, only a couple defensive links here. So, I mean, with this character, obviously they have 90% damage reduction, so you kind of want to prioritize those offensive links, right? So if you were to prioritize your offensive links, right, you're getting 20% attack, another 15%, so that's 35%, another 5 here, so 40%, another 15, 55%, and another 5, so 60% total. On the defense side of things, right, you're gaining 5% defense, 5% defense, 5% defense, so really only 15% defense. But thankfully, most of his good link partners that you're going to run him with are going to activate these, right? The major link partner you're probably going to see most often with him is Goku. Pretty standard stuff right there, right? The only thing you're missing is his shocking speed and Saiyan lineage, so you're really only getting 5% out of that, which is unfortunate, but you know it's still, you know, they're still going to be good enough defensively, especially post super with that 90% damage reduction, right? Other great link partners for them, right, are going to be pretty common on a lot of their teams, right? The Z duo, Diamond Goku. Well, actually, they don't really share many teams with Diamond Goku, but the on the pure Saiyan side of things, right, you have the Goku side of the Majin Vegeta. You have AGL Gogeta. They share a lot of teams together, especially on Beast Gohan's team, right? Vegito, they're also on a couple teams together, right? So there's some decent link partners there within their 5 link set. Within their 4 link set, there's a lot more common characters that you're going to be seeing on many of his teams. Beast Gohan, God Goku, the GT duo, both sets of them, right? This guy, the Bond Master and Disciple lead, they're on some teams together. Vegeta and Trunks, they're not really on any teams together other than their own lead, which I don't recommend running, but that is there. The Blues, right? So like on a pure Saiyan setup, you could have them, you know, kind of slot one in it for them if you trust their 85% dodge. But all in all, right, some pretty decent link partners. So this setup that we're going to talk about here in this video is going to run based on using Goku as our partner. So if we actually look at our unit breakdowns here, right, starting with their base form, right, when we look at their base form, right, we're going to assume the link partner is Goku and some standard 40% support. There's a lot more support, like Goku himself post revive is giving 59% support, but let's just assume standard 40% support for this. No domain, no nothing crazy, just 40% support. So base attack is 21, 210, base defense 13,888, and so that's what we're working with. This is their base stats at max, so 100%. Leader skill 444%. Passive, right? Their first passive in their base 400% from their additive passive. Their phase 1 passive, phase 2 passive. They're only getting 150% because they're only getting that 150% when attacking. 55% from their link skills and 40% from the support. Key multiplier 200% for 24 key, and then of course the SA multiplier for having 25 25 super attack levels. So effective damage you're probably going to see around their first appearance or so is probably going to be around 33 million, right? When I calculated it out, we came out to 33,064,515. Now could be a little bit higher, could be a little bit lower, depending on your setups. But that's what you should be seeing. If this is a crit, this is going to be more along the lines of about 62 million damage, right? Nothing too crazy, but again, you're only in this for maybe 1, maybe 2 turns, depending on the setup and the attack placement. Defense calculation, same thing. He has a lot more in his phase 1 passive for defense, which I guess helps out, which you kind of want early on. Phase 2 passive is still only 150%. And then, right, he is gaining 50% attack 50% stack and a 30% stack on their super attack. So that is more relevant to the defense stats than the offense stat. But if on a team with 40% support linked with Goku, post super, you're going to be around 3.4 million defense post super with that 90% damage reduction. Now, pre super, it's a little bit different, right? You're hovering around more 800K to a little over 1 million, depending on your initial setup. But it's still not bad, right? With 70% or up to 90% damage reduction, that's still pretty good. So that is their base. Once they do their Melrao boost, things shift dramatically, right? Shifting most of his phase 1 passive into his phase 2, getting a 600 multiplicative buff, 600% multiplicative buff in their attack, pushes their offense to about 70 million effective damage. Crit damage would be about 134 million if you proc that crit. So it's pretty impressive here. On the defense side of things, the defense actually isn't changing a whole lot, right? Depending on your setup, it can range anywhere from an additional 200 to 400,000, but the defense isn't really changing all that much. 3.6 million, again, with that 70% or 90% damage reduction. Depending on which turn it is. Nothing too crazy there, but that's also why I recommend going heavily in their additional attack if you checked out our hidden potential video, which will be linked in the description down below. Now, the thing to note about them, as we mentioned, they have a 500% turn, and I wanted to factor that in, right? So there's a couple things to note here. That 500% turn procs if you use the active skill. If you don't use the active skill, that damage is factored into their first super attack effect. So if you don't use the active skill, the first attack is going to deal about 100 mil damage, right? Crit would be about 190. Of course, you'll never see that actual number because one, that's your crit damage, and two, most bosses have more than enough damage reduction to bring that down significantly, but that's what it actually is, right? Because remember, crit is a 1.9 multiplier, so that's why that's high. Now, with that said, I wouldn't actually recommend doing this, right? This is just to give you an idea of how much that extra 500% adds. It's actually more beneficial to use the active skill. Your overall damage on that turn after using the active skill is going to be significantly higher because after using the active skill on that first attack, right, this number is going to bump up slightly for the turn, which is helpful. So you do want to make sure that you're using that active skill. But I did want to throw that out there. So with that said, let's take a look at some teams here. So shout out to the Dokkan Stats. We did build a couple of teams here sort of centered around these guys. The major team you're probably going to be running with these guys is probably going to look a little something like this. Assuming you've pulled the Beast Gohan, you'll probably have one rotation of the Duo and Goku, another rotation of your Beast Gohan and your AGL Gohan with a floating Gogeta and a floating Piccolo. You don't have to use Gogeta. I like to use them because I like that active skill buff turn, but if you want to use a different floating support, that's always welcome too. Gamma 2 and Piccolo work very well. But I just kind of like this setup. So this is probably one of the major teams you're going to be running with them, right? Another team you can run. This one is more so if you don't have the Beast Gohan, but you do have Golden Frieza and Gogeta. You can run a setup similar to this, right? Gogeta as your floater, Goku and the Duo as one rotation, and then the Gods and God Goku as another rotation. Now, this is a little bit tricky because of God Goku's passive, but I think it'll work well enough, especially if you have the gods covering for them, to help them build up. And plus, you can always swap him to the third slot once you can have Gogeta out, and then you can just pop Gogeta in slot 1 here. But honestly, I think it'll work out just fine. I tested it a bit, and for longer fights where God Goku has time to build up, as long as you can get his key spheres, it actually works out pretty well. Because really, I mean, yes, obviously you do want his entrance passive, but he can still work without it. I mean, especially once you decide to float him. Another option you can run here. Oh, wrong one. This team here, kind of a variation of the other Beast Gohan team I showed you, but instead it swaps in Piccolo. Orange Piccolo. Another variation we've got, right? If you don't have the Piccolo, if you don't have Beast Gohan, run an AGL Gohan and a friend Gohan, and then you can run a team similar to this. I recommend dropping in Golden Frieza and Gogeta, the STR Gamma, and then for some added offense, since you don't have that second Beast Gohan, bringing this guy in is very helpful. Okay, another team we've got here centers more around a pure Saiyan setup. Now, they are only on the 170 in this lead, but there's a lot of powerful stuff and some extra offense being added by the Super Saiyan 4s that I think this could work potentially. Basically, you would have one rotation of the 2 Majin Vegetas, the other rotation of the Daima Goku and the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, with these guys floating. Now, they won't be able to do their post exchange via naturally via the turn, right? So they're gonna have to get hit on this team. You're gonna have to put them in situations to get hit on this team. The other thing about this team, right, is this is for a Super Saiyan 3 Goku fight. If you're in another fight, you are going to have to swap one of these characters out for a Trunks. Just so you know, Zeno Trunks is on the lead, I think, so he works out pretty well for that if you want to swap him in. But that's just one option. Another option utilizes the Beast Gohan, putting them next to the LR Super Saiyan 4s just to help boost their offense a little bit. They do share 4 links, and then you've got some additional support coming from this guy. And if you really want, you can toss Birdku in here as a floater. I tossed Piccolo in here, but this is really a flex spot. You can put whoever you want in here. It could be Birdku, it could be Orange Piccolo. I like him in the giant form, so that's very helpful, especially for this team early on. You also have options to use here, like the Gammas, the TURs, or the TUR Exchange. You can put the Fizz Beastless Gohan. You can put, heck, even depending on the fight, STR Beast Gohan can work here. This is really just a flex spot, and I do think it works out pretty well. So these are just some of the teams you can run to make this guy work, and they do work pretty well. So with that said, let's see how they work. Let's go ahead and let's hop on in to our showcase. So for this one, we're going to run the Triku fight, just to mix it up a little bit, right? There's just so many different fights we can run. I don't think there's any one particularly great showcase fight, but I do like this fight because you are almost always, this and the God Goku fight, you are almost always going to be able to get your hits in early on with this setup, and that's kind of why I like it. And then watch, right? This is ours. With our 70% damage reduction, we take 100k. That's not terrible, honestly. And there's that 34 million attack stat we said. Again, factoring in extra support here and extra links does shift that a little bit. And also your build, right? I do think I have an offensive bronze equip on them, so that does affect things here. There we go. Okay, and then we do lower some attack there. So perfect. So the goal will be to get the Birdku revive and the Piccolo hit, so we can get both of their support passes up and try to see if we can push these guys as much as we can. If we can, we can. If we can't, we can't. And so, I mean, it's not a big deal. It's more just to see them. I didn't want to do the God Goku fight for this one just because they are type disadvantage and they don't have guard, which means that a crit super from an age from that tech type will annihilate them. They do a little bit better against the type neutral crit, but a crit super from the God Goku is very dangerous from them. There we go. All right, so Gohan's going to eat this hit here. There we go. And now we got Piccolo's passive up. Alrighty. Okay, so we're going to put AGL Gohan here. I'm going to put this here. And then we'll float the Vegeta. If we can get the Vegeta turn, that would be nice. If we don't get it, that's also fine too. But we'll see what happens here. Okay. Jesus, Gohan, you were not supposed to take that much damage there. What do we have, like 0 health? Jeez, okay. All right, we definitely gonna have to turn this around. We are not in a good spot. Well, okay, that's not true. We're actually in an okay spot because we have Birdku here on the next rotation. So we can just revive, worst case scenario. Actually, if we can kill this phase, this team might actually do it. Actually, looking at the setup. Oh, no, but there's not enough crits there, counters there. If we can actually kill this phase, that would honestly be best for the setup. Oh, we might actually do it. If this crits, can Gogeta finish this? Can he finish? I wonder. Oh, he just might. One more? Okay, that actually works out so perfectly. Excellent. Okay, so that does the trick. Oh, we didn't quite do enough to get them out. So we are going to have to drop them in slot 1 then, because I don't want us to revive. But that does mean we have to pray that the first attack isn't the super. I think we did enough supers. We did do 3 supers, so it was the hits that we need. And there goes the hit. Okay, I think it's fine with the first attack being the super. I think it's fine. Oh, wow, they double-digit tanked that. Wow. They double-digit tanked turn 1 Triku Super. We haven't attack lowered yet.
Sorry, everyone. It's all because of me.
Alrighty. So, excellent. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's pop the AGL Gamma active here. Excellent. Okay. Not I mean, I didn't expect it to do that much damage. There we go. And then swap into Gohan. Let's grab that. Okay. And then let's grab that. Beautiful. Okay. So unfortunately, just because of the way this rotation played out, we're not going to get their 500% attack turn. But I mean, it is what it is. That is a shame. I thought we had enough attacks there, but that's okay. I mean, we will do their Grand Tour and you'll get to see it. I mean, basically, just to understand that their 500% attack turn is going to buff them up a little bit more. Let's see. Well, actually, I mean, we're not doing a whole lot of damage here. We could stall it if we really wanted to. We switch into Gogeta for a turn. Stall. We could try it. Because we revived with Birdku already. It does mean we would have to float Birdku, which means we lose a valuable link partner. But it's not like he doesn't link with Gogeta well. He still shares, I think, 4 links with Gogeta. So actually, I mean, it's not a big loss. Although we do lose that support buff from Birdku. There we go. There goes the dodge. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now we got it.
I can't feel my legs. Vegeta,
I can't feel my legs. Every time I hear Vegeta say that, all I think is Major Pain. If anybody's ever seen that movie, shout out. Alrighty. Okay, so yeah, let's just go ahead and do it. It's a shame, but all right, let's use Birdku's active. Oh, actually, wait. Birdku just removed the passive. Yeah, okay. Birdku's... Oh, okay, we gotta finish this up. Okay, we can't do this. We can stall this out. We just have to make sure we don't put our beasts... actually... Why not? Okay, I mean, that's still a decent attack stack coming out here, and it's about what we anticipated. There we go. 60 mil on the secondary super. Very nice. So honestly, looking pretty good. All things considered, and because we do have Birdku's support revive, his support passive. Oh, this is going to be real tricky. I don't know. I don't think we can do it. I think our Beast Gohans are going to actually murder him on the next turn. Dang it. I should have just popped the Gogeta active. Unless we get like a turn where there's like no attacks, I think we're killing him. I mean, which is possible. I've seen it happen before. I've seen him do like 4 attacks. Oh, dang. We might actually finish on the next turn. That's a shame. That's okay. I mean, we are going to do their long Grand Tour, which you guys will see, and we'll get to see more interaction with that 500% turn. But still pretty good post-revive, because, I mean, honestly, even if we don't see that 500% turn, like, what you just saw there is what you're going to see naturally every single time they're on rotation outside of that turn. That turn only happens once. Oh, shoot. I shouldn't have done that. Oh, actually, you know what? Actually, that is probably a good idea to do that. There aren't a whole lot of counters, though. There aren't a whole lot of counters. We might be able to do this. But actually, using his active skill does help, because now we ensure that we have the survive KO mechanic on everybody here. So in case he does something. I mean, AGL Gohan should be fine, because he's got that it is a melee super, so he will just automatically damage reduction and not die to it. So actually, it more so helps out that 3rd slot Gohan than anything. 280k. That was post. Was that post super? There we go. Oh man. Okay, like leave him with a sliver of health just so we can do the active skill. Can you do that for us? I don't think we're getting. No, I don't think so. I think because the AGL Gohan just took the hit. Oh, okay. If you want to not crit for the rest of this, that would be no. Okay, yeah, we're killing here. Okay, it is what it is. I should have just used Gogeta's active on the last turn, and we can just see how much that the attack would have been then. But on the same token, you also see kind of their average attack stat as well, which again, according to the calculations that you guys saw, that was pretty standard. Yeah, I think the crit's gonna kill. The counter's gonna kill here. Oh yeah, especially after that normal. And there's 2 hits, isn't there? Yeah, he's dying. He's dead. Oh well. Is what it is. Alrighty, so there you have it. There is the AGL Super Saiyan Duo. Honestly, I'm pretty impressed with them. Tell you, before even morale boosting, right? Tanking that turn 1 Triku Super in slot 1, that was pretty impressive, honestly. Offense is about what I expected. Now you have to consider, right? They're doing 3 to 4 supers every turn, so that offense is pretty crazy there, because that effective damage, right, on their active skill turn is going to push them up to over 700 million damage. That's still about a 200 to 300 million on that turn without the Gogeta support. That's still a 200 to 300 million supported APT turn, so that's still pretty good. So we're just gonna go ahead and leave it at that, guys. Guys, that is it for the video. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and in the comments down below let us know what are your thoughts on the AGL Super Saiyan Duo. Honestly, I think they look great, but I would love to know what you guys think in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.